Welcome back. Now, if you can recall, we went through 4 examples of partial variations to understand better the properties of what a partial variation looks like. Okay, so we have the plumber with the initial fee of $100. So that means that the plumber charges $100 just to come to your house and investigate the problem. And then they cost $50 extra per hour. Okay, so $50 for every hour that they work. And then you have the pizza. Okay, we pay $10 for the pizza plus 50 cents per topping. And then we have the car rental. So the daily charge for the car rental is $30. We pay that whether we drive the car or not, plus the extra 25 cents per kilometer. And lastly, we have the cell phone. The cell phone has the monthly fee of $25 and the cost per minute of 25 cents. Okay. So what do all these have in common? Well, if you can see, they all have an initial fee or an initial cost. Okay, here the initial cost of $100, and then they all have a rate of change or a slope. In this case, cost per hour. Cost per hour is a rate of change. Okay, so we have an initial fee of $100 for the plumber to come to your house, and then the rate of change is the cost per hour, $50 per hour. Over here for the pizza, we have the initial cost of the pizza, which is $10. That's for your basic cheese pizza. Plus 50 cents is the rate of change per topping. Over here for the car, we have $30 just to rent the car. That's the initial cost. And then the cost per kilometer, in this case, is the rate of change. And lastly, the cell phone example, we have the monthly fee of $25. That's the initial cost or the initial fee, plus the rate of change is the cost per minute. Okay, so all partial variations have that in common. They all have an initial cost or an initial fee, and they all have a rate of change. Now take a minute to make sure that you fill in the task sheet that accompanies these videos. If you need to at any point in this video or the previous video on partial variation, please make sure to stop the video to give yourself time to fill in the sheet, and then you can restart it. You can also go back and replay the video if you need to fill in parts of the task sheet. So here's an example of a cell phone problem. So given the equation for a partial variation, so I'm going to take the one that I used before. Okay, so equation for a partial variation, cost C equals let's say $25 per month. Okay, so that's the initial fee plus, oops, not equals, plus 0.25 cents, so 25 cents, n for number of minutes. Okay, so cost equals $25 plus 25 cents per minute. Okay, for n represents the number of minutes. Next, we have a table of values for partial variation. So number of minutes, oh, down here I put x, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to n. Okay, over here the cost of the plan, I'm going to change that from y to c. Okay, so number of minutes n, cost of the plan c. So after, let's say, 0 minutes, okay, 0 minutes, how much am I going to pay? Well, if I don't go over my monthly minutes, I'm only going to pay the monthly plan, which is the $25. Let's say 10 minutes, how much am I going to pay for the phone? Well, I'm going to have to pay the 25 plus each of those 10 minutes costs 25 cents. So 0.25 times 10. Okay, and what does that equal? Oops. There we go. What does that equal? That equals an extra 250. So altogether, you type that in your calculator and you'll find 2750. Okay. Let's try the next one. 20. 20 minutes. Well, I'm going to pay the $25 plan plus 25 cents times 20 equals, that's going to equal, if you put that in your calculator, 25 plus 25 cents times 20, that's going to equal $30. Okay, and then after you should notice a pattern. 25, 27.50, 30, they're all going up by $2.50. So I can complete this table like so. The next one, if I continue the same pattern, is going to be 32.50, right? And that'll be for 30 minutes. Oops. Sorry, did that wrong. This will be for 30 minutes, and then for 40 minutes, this one will be equal to $35. Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to go on, and I want you to graph this relation. Okay, so let's start with a graph. We need our x-axis, and we need our y-axis. So let's put in our lines here. There we go. There's our y-axis, and there's our x-axis. Okay. So there's my cost, which is my y. There's my n, which is the number of minutes. Okay, so let me label the graph. I'm going to start at 0, the cost. What does my cost go up? It goes up by 250. I'm going to go up by 5s. Okay, so I'm going to start at 5. No, that's not going to work. I'm going to go up by 10. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35. I can do this. Let me just extend this up. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, there we go. And on the other axis, I'm going to go up 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So let's go 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, now I'm going to plot my points over here. I'm going to choose green to plot my points. Okay, so my first point that I'm going to graph is 0 and 25. So I'm going to go to 0 on the x-axis, and I'm going to go up to 25. And there's my point going to be right there on the y-axis. And my next point is going to be 10 and 27.50. So 10 and 27.50, it'll be between 25 and 30. There's my next point. And then I'm going to go up. The next one's 20 and 30. So 20, go all the way up to 30, and put a point there. Then 30 and 32.50. So 30, 32.50, between 30 and 35. Right, it's between 30 and 35, 32.50. And then that last one's going to be 40 and 35. So 40 and 35. There we go. Now I connect those dots with a line. And there's my graph. Okay, and once again, just like you can see if we go back to the examples of the community centers, You saw what did the partial variation look like? Well, it didn't start at 0 on the graph. It started at 100, so it starts above 0. Same thing here. In the example we did with the cell phone, starts at 25, not at 0, but at 25. And then it has a rate of change from 25. Okay, so now we're going to go to example of a partial variation problem. You're going to complete this problem here on your task sheet and use everything you learned from this video to complete this problem. Okay, if you have any problems, feel free to go back to this video or the previous video to watch some of the sections to get a better understanding of how partial variation works. Okay, enjoy.